There's a moment when you realize you've been treating time like it's infinite, and by then, it's usually too late to get it back. Most people have that moment. Not all of them survive it. This is about what happens when tomorrow becomes the most dangerous word you know. In a Persian city, maybe 900 years ago, there lived a merchant named Dariush. Successful enough, comfortable enough, the kind of man who told himself he was building towards something bigger. One day, he'd travel. One day, he'd learn to paint like he'd always wanted. One day, he'd spend real time with his son instead of just existing in the same house. One day. Tomorrow. He had this habit, maybe you know it. Every morning, he'd wake with a small list of things that mattered. Personal things. A letter to an old friend. An hour in the garden. Teaching his boy to read poetry. But the shop demanded his attention. The ledgers, the shipments, the endless, urgent nothing that felt like everything. Tomorrow, he'd say. I'll do it tomorrow. His wife noticed. She'd watch him defer his own life day after day until the things he postponed weren't even on the list anymore. They just dissolved, forgotten. Dariush, she said one evening, when? When what? When will tomorrow come? He laughed, kissed her forehead. Soon. But soon is just tomorrow wearing a disguise. Sound familiar? Years passed the way they do when you're not paying attention. In chunks, not days. His son grew taller, then distant, then gone. Married, moved to another city. He had meant to know him, truly know him. But there'd always been something, some smaller urgency, screaming louder than the quiet, essential things. The garden he'd imagined planting, still just dirt and plans. The painting, he'd bought the brushes, never opened them. The travel, when I have enough saved, he'd say. He had enough. He'd had enough for years. But he saved tomorrow instead. One winter, his wife fell ill. Nothing dramatic, just a cold that weakened her, slowly. The kind of thing that makes you realize how fragile the whole structure is. Dariush sat beside her bed, holding her hand, and felt something crack open inside him. Do you remember, she whispered, when we said we'd go to the mountains, see the sunrise from the peak? He did remember. He'd promised her that 20 years ago. We'll go, he said, when you're stronger. She smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. Dariush. We won't. Don't. We won't because you don't actually believe time runs out. You think tomorrow is a place you can always visit. She closed her eyes, squeezed his hand. It's not. She recovered, barely, but something in her was different now. A quiet resignation. She stopped asking him about tomorrow. She stopped expecting it. And that's when Dariush felt it, the real weight. He'd stolen her time. Not by leaving, not by cruelty, by postponing. By treating their shared life like a rehearsal for some future performance that never came. She'd wanted to dance with him at his son's wedding. He'd been too busy talking to merchants. She'd wanted to walk the night markets, hand in hand like they used to. He'd been too tired. She wanted him. Not his presence, him. And he'd said tomorrow so many times that eventually she stopped believing in it. Here's what he didn't see coming. One morning, Dariush woke up and couldn't remember what he'd done with the last decade. Not in detail, just a blur of transactions and obligations and deferred intentions. he was 56. Suddenly. How? His body felt it, the stiffness, the way standing took effort now. He walked to the window and looked at the mountains in the distance, the ones he'd promised to climb. They looked the same as always, permanent, indifferent. He'd postponed his life believing that life would wait. It hadn't. The garden plot was overgrown now. The painting brushes had dried out, unusable. His son visited once a year, polite and distant, the way you'd visit a landlord. And his wife, she was kind to him still, but the light in her eyes when she looked at him, gone. He'd saved tomorrow, and tomorrow had bankrupted him. That afternoon, he did something he'd never done. He closed the shop, middle of the day. He walked home, pulled his wife from her sewing, and said, "Now." Now what? "We're going to the mountains. Right now, today." She stared at him. "Dariush, I know it's 20 years too late, I know that, but I can't..." His voice cracked. "I can't keep stealing from us." They went. It took them 3 days to reach the peak. They were older now, slower, but they made it. Stood there at sunrise, holding hands, watching light pour over the world, and Dariush realized something that almost broke him. This moment, this one right here, wasn't better or more important than the 1,000 other moments he'd postponed. It wasn't special because the mountain was holy or the sunrise was magic. It was special because he'd finally stopped lying to himself. Time wasn't something he'd get more of. Tomorrow wasn't guaranteed, and every time he said later, he was choosing to not live. That was the theft. Not someday losing time, losing it by never treating it as real. You're doing this right now. Maybe not with mountains, but with something. There's a conversation you're postponing, a risk you're delaying, a small true thing you keep pushing to next week, next month, next year, and you tell yourself it's practical, responsible, smart. But here's what you're actually doing. You're treating time like it's renewable. It's not. The ancient Persians had a phrase for this: farda, farda, forever tomorrow. It's what you say when you're lying to yourself about how much time you have. Modern psychology calls it temporal discounting. Our brains genuinely can't feel future loss as real. Tomorrow's regret doesn't hurt today. So we postpone, we defer, we save the good moments for later, until later is gone. You know what's terrifying? Most people realize this too late, not because they're stupid, but because the things that matter most don't scream. They don't have deadlines. They just wait, quietly, until they're impossible. The question isn't whether you'll regret postponing. You will. The question is whether you'll realize it in time to stop. Here's what you do, right now, today, not tomorrow. Pick one thing you've been postponing. Not your biggest dream, that's too heavy to start with. Something small, a call to someone you miss, 10 minutes on something you said you'd learn, a walk somewhere you've been meaning to go. Do it today. Not because it's urgent, because it's finite. Every day you don't do it is a day you'll never get back. And the brutal truth, the thing that Dariush learned too late to save most of his life, is that tomorrow is the lie we tell ourselves to avoid living today. You can stop telling it. Have you been postponing something? Maybe for years that you know you should do, something you keep saying tomorrow about. Tell me in the comments, what is it? No judgment, Just name it. Because here's the thing about naming it publicly. Suddenly, it's real. Suddenly, tomorrow has a witness. Type the word today if you're ready to stop postponing. Make it real. Make it now. Time doesn't care about your plans. It just runs out.